Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my tunnel. I'm so glad that you stopped by today. Today is a beautiful day. The sun is at least out. The last few days have been very chilly here, and it's a little cool and crisp today, but in the tunnel, it is beautiful and warm. So I wanted to bring you on today as I'm out of my tunnel. I'm going to be doing my first up potting of the gardening season. But as I up pot, I'm going to talk to you about some things that I really want you to be focused on and intentional for the month of March. Before we jump into our list of things that we have to do for March, I want to stop and thank the sponsor of this video, which is BetterHelp. BetterHelp provides therapy when you need it the most. And so if you've ever been to counseling or therapy, sometimes you have a person and you know you have a need, but maybe you're not a good match with the person that you've selected. That's one of the things that I love about BetterHelp is that they match you with a therapist according to your style, your preferences. When you go on the website, you go and you fill out questions and answer questions about your style, what you need therapy for, what are your preferences, what type of person you're looking for. And usually within 48 hours, they send you a match with a therapist. And the other great benefit of BetterHelp is that you can talk to your therapist via text, you can talk via video call, or you can talk by phone. So it is very convenient. If in this season of life you're going through anything that you feel like that you want to talk to someone about, it could be divorce. It could be, getting a new home. It could be the loss of a child or parent. It could be just parenting, right? Whatever may be going on that you feel like you need a therapist, I encourage you to look at the link below and click on that link for BetterHelp. They're going to give you 10% off your first month. I cannot say enough great things about BetterHelp. So I hope that you go click the link. And let me tell you, as we're thinking about all these things that we have to do, it can get overwhelming. But talking to my therapist helps me each and every time to kind of settle down, find calm, find peace, and be able to tackle the things that's on my plate. So go ahead and click the link below and let's talk about these things, what we need to do for March if we're gardening. Okay guys, so one of the things that should be on your list for March is getting your beds ready for your summer garden. Now, for those of you that have not grown a fall and winter garden and you have not grown your spaces since summer, this is a great time for you to go out, look at your beds, and start getting your beds prepped and ready and amending your soil. That is one of the things that you definitely want to do. For me, because I've been growing all year long, I'm still going to do the same thing, but mine will be a little bit staggered because we still have food growing out here in certain spaces. But I'm going to show you the beds that we're going to prep today and show you what we do to kind of start the prepping process of getting the beds ready for the summer. Okay, so this is one of two beds that we're going to prep today. As you can see, in this bed we had all of our Brussels sprouts that we have taken out, and the only thing that we have left in this bed is spinach and a couple of bunching onions, which I'm going to take out today. And then also what's going to go in this bed next is going to be potatoes. So we need to get the bed ready for that. So when I say getting the bed ready, my son is down here with me. He has taken out the hoops, these hoops that we have right here, because I know what's going in this bed next. And I'm not going to need hoops, even if it gets, downright cold. At least I'm thinking it'll be okay in the greenhouse. We've taken the hoops out. We're going to add more soil in here because you can see that the soil level is kind of low. So we're going to bring the soil level up, and then we will add some compost. And then once I get the results of my soil test, then I'll add the amendments. But we're going to go ahead and get this bed ready. So that's one. This bed right here still has cabbage left in it, so we're not going to worry about that. But then this bed here is the second bed we're going to get prepped today. In this bed was the cauliflower. And you guys know I already harvested all of the cauliflower. In the back, we have some snapdragons there. So this is another bed that we're going to get ready for the summer. Now, all of these other beds have food in them. This bed is full of bok choy. We have carrots growing here, and then we have our kale and lettuce here. So we're not going to prep those beds today because I'm still going to let these things continue to grow until mid-April. But instead of me waiting until every bed is empty and doing it all at one time, because I know that these two beds are not going to have any more cool weather, quote unquote, crops in them, and I'm going to go ahead and put a new crop in there, then it makes sense for me to go ahead and get these beds prepared now. Y'all, look and see how good that bed looks. I don't know why, but a bed that is freshly, has fresh soil and that is ready to plant. I don't know. It's just the most beautiful sight to me. And so you see my little spinach is the only thing that's left in there. And of course, eucalyptus. But this bed is ready for planting. And then we also did this other bed over here. This bed is also ready to go. The only thing that's left in the back are the snapdragons, and that is it. Otherwise, this bed is ready to go. So I talk about on this channel all the time is that I try to be organized, efficient, and intentional. And I have to be because I work a whole nother business, as well as doing the garden business, as well as I have a large space. So it works out really well for me to do things as they come up and do things as I have little pockets of time. Instead of me trying to wait and prep all of my spaces at one time, it would take quite a bit of time. And a lot of times I don't have those big blocks of time except infrequently. But I may have an hour instead of 3 hours, so I can come out and get my husband or my son to come help me for 10 or 15 minutes, and they do the heavy lifting, and then the 2 beds are done. Those 2 beds didn't take but 10 minutes, literally. Now, if I would have had to have lift the soil up and things like that, like my strength is just not where theirs is, so it makes it much easier for them to come out here and do it for me in terms of just lifting and putting the soil in there, and then I can spread it out and do all the things. But just that little bit helps. But now I have 2 of my 6 raised beds ready to go. So we added in soil on the one bed to kind of bring up the level a little bit. So we added in 2 bags of potting soil, and then we also added in some compost in both of the beds. Now, I have not added any amendments in terms of like things for nitrogen, phosphorus, and things like that because I have not done a soil test, and we're going to talk about that as one of your tasks. But I know that I can go ahead and plant something in here because it has fresh soil and or fresh compost. I cannot say enough. You want to make sure that you refresh your soil with every season, and you want to make sure that you're putting nutrients in your soil. So I will go back and put nutrients in my soil once I finalize what's going to actually go in the bed, and once I have my soil test. That'll inform me about what to actually put in my bed. But you don't want to plant in your spaces over and over and over and not refresh the soil, not add new compost, and not add new nutrients. You have to think about that when you put your plants in the ground, they are using those nutrients. And most of the time, those nutrients, whatever you applied at the beginning of the season, is only going to last about, I say 3 months. Some people say, 3 to 6 months. But I say a good, 3 months is kind of like my limit. And then I'm adding in more nutrients and things like that based on what the plant needs and what it's showing me through the signs of the plant. So that is one of your tasks in March, is to start going around looking at your beds and prepping your beds and getting them ready instead of waiting until the day of planting. And then you have to do that and plant all your stuff. So let me know if you've already started thinking about prepping your beds. If you've already started that process, let me know down below. So that is one of the tasks, especially for March, that you need to do. So another task that you need to do is up pot your plants if you have been seed starting. A lot of us started seed starts in either January and February. And so about the March time frame, you're probably going to need to up pot, especially if you're doing things that have a bigger root system like tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and things like that. And also depending on what size you started your seeds in. So today we're going to be up potting one of the first trays that we did at week 12. We're now almost at week 6. So they've been in these for like 6 weeks, and this is the 6-cell tray. But I noticed that no matter how much I fertilize, how much I water, they dry out consistently, and you can see like some yellowing there. But you can see the roots are all out here. They need a bigger space, and they need to be up potted. So if you're brand new to gardening, all up potting means is that we're going to take it from one pot to a bigger pot and add in more soil on the top. That's it. It's very, very simple. But you want to make sure that you do this if you are starting seeds and you start them in something small. Like, for example, let's just say this was a tomato seed. There is no way that this tomato, if it was a tomato, could grow in this small of a 6-cell tray all the way till it's time to get planted in my garden without it being damaged. It's going to be, growth is going to be stunted because it does not have enough space to grow. So I'm going to up pot the first part of this. These are the first seeds that I started in the very beginning. I have my tray here, and so what I do is I just line my stuff out, and I put like half a cup of soil roughly in each thing, so that way I can plop it down in there and then just add more soil on top instead of filling it all the way up, because some of these roots again are pretty look, you can see that how it looks. It looks great, and as soon as it has more space, it'll grow even better. But you can see like some of that yellowing there. So we're just going to take it, plop it in here, and then add more soil on top, and then we'll water them in. That way they have fresh soil, fresh nutrients, and they'll be watered in. So now, instead of it being in this cell, and now it's in a 2.5-inch cup. Now these cups are from Bootstrap Farmer, and I do love these cups from Bootstrap Farmer. They're very durable. A lot of these cups I have had since the very beginning of my gardening journey, and they're very durable, no issues. If you take care of them, no issues whatsoever. So I'm just going to finish up potting this tray. Let me show you what the whole tray looks like. And you can see, so that's the lavender in the middle that you see here, and then you can see my eucalyptus and stuff. It just doesn't look happy, right? It just looks dry. I don't tell you how much I water it. It just needs to come out and go into something bigger. Then I think that it will thrive much better. So I'll bring you back when we get done, and you can see what the final product looks like. Okay guys, got the first tray done. Well, this is the first tray that's up potted. I still have some left from the original tray. So the disadvantage when it comes to up potting is that it takes way more space. You can see this is a tray of 32. This was a tray of 72. So I'm not even done with this original tray, and I'm already done with a tray. But I still have more that need to be up potted, which means I'm going to have to go to a second tray. So that just means it's going to take up more space. And space is a commodity when it comes to seed starting. But I have the one tray done. I'll get these watered in, but you can see how much better these look in their new homes. And I guarantee you they're going to grow more and better now that they have new soil and more room to grow. So I'm going to finish up. I have the eucalyptus left to do. Then I have one rosemary and some oregano. I'm going to do that on another tray. And then I have a whole nother tray as well that I need to up pot. Let me show you that one. This tray right here, I need to up pot. So on this side is some of the first things that we did. This is our chamomile that needs to be up potted. And then also we have some tomatoes here that I'm going to go ahead and up pot. These tomatoes are only 2 weeks old, but I want to go ahead and separate them while I can and up pot them into different trays. And plus they're a little leggy just because sometimes it can be a challenge in the house. I know where the light is supposed to go, but I have plants at various stages, some that just germinated and then some that have already germinated. So it's hard to keep the light 1 to 2 inches above every plant when you get to a certain point in your seed starting. And so that's why some of these are leggy. So I'm going to see if I have time. If not, then I'll do those another day. But I'm definitely going to go ahead and do whatever it takes to fill up the second tray. And I'll bring you back and let you know what happens. Okay, guys, we got the up potting done. So I have 2 trays. Here is the second tray, and then the other tray that I already showed you is down there. And then here's what I have left in the original tray. So I came out here with 1 tray, but I'm going home with 2.5 trays. Really, I mean, 2.5 trays full, but 3 trays. So I really just added 2 more trays to my full shelf, right? So that's that's the disadvantage of up potting, is that it's going to take up more space. I decided to leave these tomatoes be for right now and let them get a little bit bigger, because for the tomatoes, I'm going to go from that size to this size, which is, you can see, is much deeper than this. And so I'm going to let them get bigger and not go ahead and up pot them now. again, because I'm trying to meter out my space as best as I can. But we at least got 2 trays up potted of the things that we started in the very, very beginning. And like I said, those tomatoes are like 2 weeks. Oh, so we have time on that. The other thing that was in this tray is lemon balm. Our lemon balm finally popped up. You can see it here. It's still in the 16 cell tray. I'll probably give it another week or so, and then we'll up pot that into a 6 cell tray. And then we have some marigolds that we did just last week. So all of that stuff is good and fine. So at least we got our first phase of up potting done. So that's the second thing, again, when it comes to what you should be focused on for March. So getting your beds prepped, up potting. Also, number 3, you should be starting seeds if you are going to start seeds and not buy all transplants. Now, some of you have already started depending on your growing zone, but in March is game for everybody to start seeds. No matter what zone you're in, there's probably seeds that you should be starting depending on how many weeks before your last frost date. So make sure that you're starting seeds and that you have a plan for what you're going to start, how many, and when. If you need help with figuring out what to start when, I do have a seed starting calculator that you can purchase in our shop. It is $6.95. It is an Excel spreadsheet and it's an automatic download. As soon as you pay, you get the Excel spreadsheet, put in your last frost date, and then it'll spit out all of your dates of when you need to plant. So that comes in really, really handy. The fourth thing that you need to be doing in March is getting you a soil test. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on soil testing, but I want you to write this down, put it on your list, calendar it, and do a soil test. Now, I did a poll in the community, and I think I had 100 and something responses, and I was shocked that only 6% of you have done a soil test. I'm going to tell you right now, that is critical to you having an abundant garden, is to do a soil test. I'm going to do a separate video about soil testing, hopefully in the next week or so. But that is definitely one of the things that you need to do, is a soil test in March, in the spring, before you plant your stuff for the summer. And then the fifth thing that I want you to write down on your list of what to be doing in March is to take inventory of your supplies and go ahead and order what you need. What do I mean? I mean things like your labels, right? Every year I buy labels because I usually have some to start off with, but I don't have enough, excuse me, I don't have enough to make it through the whole season. And it is a bad thing when you're out here trying to start seeds or up pot, and then you're down to your last label and you're like, oh, I don't have any more labels. Like, you're in the flow and then you don't have what you need. I want you to have what you need. That's part of being organized and efficient. So labels, markers. If you need more trays, maybe you're starting more seeds this year than you did last year. So do you have enough trays? Trellis clips. I'm also going to be ordering those. So I have a list of stuff. Labels, the garden markers that look like this. You don't want to use a black marker or Sharpie, because as soon as the sun hits it, it's going to oxidize, is not the word. It's going to disappear. So you want to use a garden marker that's specifically designed for the outside to mark your label so that they stay nice and bright. Also, trellis clips, landscape staples, landscape paper, garden baskets. I know for me, I need a couple of new harvest baskets because some of mine, well, the ones that I got from Gardener's Supply, they have held up extremely well. But some of the other ones that I got from like Walmart and stuff like that, not so much. So I know for me, I need to get a couple of new garden harvest baskets. So it's things like that. Make out your list. Take an inventory of what you have. That way you can get it now in March so that you have it before you need it and when you need it. And then also you can spread out your costs. This sometimes can get really costly depending on how big your garden is. And so instead of you having a major expense right before you get ready to plant your stuff in April or May, you can be thinking about it in March and meter your cost out. Okay, so those are the 5 things that I want you to be focused on in March if you are gardening and doing a summer garden. Number 1, amend your beds. Get your beds prepped and ready to go. Number 2, start to up pot your seedlings that you've already done and that you know need more space to grow. Number 3, start seeds. Number 4, get you a soil test. And number 5, go ahead and order your supplies. Get your stuff in order. This may seem like, oh, okay, no big deal. But I promise you, when you out there in the heat and in the middle of things and you're like, oh, I don't have any, where are my pruners? Especially if you haven't been gardening since last summer. Do you know where your pruners are? Do you know where your pruners are right now? Now, if you're good, some of you are good, you probably put them up in a special place. I'm not that person. I want to be that person, but I'm not that person. My pruners stay out here. And a lot of times, by the time it's time to use them again in the summer, I don't have as many pairs as I did at the beginning of the year. And then they've rusted because of the heat and the sun and all that. So if you need new pruners, gardening gloves, that's another thing, right? All of those things are essential to what you need for gardening, and you want to make sure that you have it on hand when you need it. So I hope you found this video helpful. Just wanted to pop in and give you a quick list to set you up for success for your summer garden. Y'all, before we know it, it is going to be time to plant. At this time of this video, we are almost 6 weeks away in zone 7 from our last frost date. So literally in 6 weeks, we're going to be planting, and it's going to be spring, moving on into the summer. So I hope that your gardens and that your plans are going well. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. I will pop up a couple of other videos up here for you to look at between now and the next video. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.